Welcome back to the bottom line. Today we have the privilege of talking to Mr. Thomas Moreno, the owner of All the Time Plumbing, and we've talked about the struggles and the systems, but I really want to talk about the longevity. And Thomas, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for being here. I'm ready to dive in.
Longevity. The longevity success of this is making sure that your business understands that you're available when you're not. Most people will do business with you. I tell people all the time, if you do a good enough job, they will do business with you, even though you have boundaries. If you do a good enough job as a parent, they understand when you have that boundary. You have to go to work. You have to take a phone call. You do have to do things at work. Again, whenever you go to, let's say, 4 out of the 5 dance recitals, baseball practices, it's easy for a child to understand that dad, mom, business owner was there 4 out of the 5 times. And the same thing for your business. Businesses will understand that you're there and but you have a hard line. I Everybody has a schedule. Everyone's a grown adult. Most entrepreneurs, most business professionals have children. They understand. And the longevity success is not so much as making sure that no one feels important. Don't make your children feel less important. Don't make your professional business partners less important or make them feel less important. You just have to preach a standard that even though that you are a business owner, even though that you like to do business with them, you have to make sure that they understand that you're a father, a parent, a mother, anybody that is taking care of a child. Whenever you set the standards, you have longevity success. I've been in business for almost 7 years, coming up in March. And in that 7 years, I took a step back in my fourth year of business and realized that I was losing fatherhood. And what I mean by that is that I was doing all the things in the first segment, FaceTiming, looking at videos, seeing my children grow up from a photography of an iPhone. Once you start realizing the rhythm of being a business owner, being the rhythm of being a parent, it's so much easier. Like I was saying originally, I never knew my success of setting those standards until another person that's a business professional. Like I said, we take care of 108 grocery stores in the state of Texas. She calls me and she says, can I get a few minutes of your time before you put your daughters down for the night? And that right there set so much like accomplishments that they understand that I am there, but they understand that at this time certain days I read books to my daughters and put them down to bed. But for just a few seconds, she calls me and says, I need a 2 minutes of your time. And that right there shows longevity. If you do a good job, people will continue to do business with you. If you do a good job as a parent, they understand when you do have to step away. They understand that. And that's the longevity is continuing to do what you say you're going to do and do a good job when you're there. And when you do that, you will have longevity and success. You will have that success in the long run. You will see the checkered flag or the ending, the light of the tunnel of you being a successful business owner and a parent.
That's such a great way to look at how to make to really have that longevity of success. So alongside that longevity, and you said you've been in business 7 years. You've been having to find this rhythm for 7 years of being the all the time guy. That's not an easy thing to do. So when we're looking at longevity, how do you maintain that without burning out? What are your ways of staying consistent without burning out and just wanting to pull all your hair out like me?
Well, so most people understand that everyone is human. There's no one perfect. And so whenever you just need time completely just to yourself, you have to make that time. Like I said, most of the time, whenever I need to make time for myself, I actually will just wake up earlier, go to bed later, making sure that you stay connected with your core friends, making sure that some people just understand that maybe he doesn't answer my phone call not because he dislikes me or he doesn't want to do business with me or he just it's just maybe he needs time to himself. or herself, you to not get burned out, you just have to stay true to yourself. And what I mean by that is that if you do like doing stuff, personally, I like kayaking. My family understands that I will go and go, I mean, go away. And not mean like go away, like completely neglect them, but they understand that I will go and go kayaking for about 2 days. I will go and hang out with some friends in another city. I Sometimes I just sit down and play a video game every once in a while to make sure that you not only neglect business and family, but you just stay to yourself, take a breather, like I said, adjust your schedule, making sure that you are not to the point of exhaustion every day.
That's powerful. That's powerful, and I can also relate to a lot of that because like I love kayaking, I love hiking, I like playing video games occasionally, and sometimes that's my decompression activity. It's not about like you said, neglecting your family, neglecting your business. No, it's about sometimes you've got to back up, disconnect, go off grid even, and recenter yourself and remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. I find that so important. And I know if it wasn't for my hobbies, it would be impossible to maintain the crazy schedules I maintain. And kayaking, once you're on that water, it's like everything else disappears. Or for me, rock climbing is another one. It's pretty hard to think about stuff when you're 50 foot in the air and the only thing that's got you up there is a rope and a couple rocks. So it's a good way to decompress. So this is great advice and a great way to look at it. But for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs that have already started their business, started that journey, but are now starting families, what is your biggest piece of advice to not go completely overboard immediately in one direction or the other?
You know, I always tell young entrepreneurs, I'm actually mentoring a young entrepreneur right now that just had a child. And I have to tell them is that, yeah, you're going to make sure that you're there for your spouse. I was telling them that, just because she had a child, you have to make sure that she is, you're there for her. The child will understand once he gets older or her get older that what you're doing. Normally, whenever they're an infant, if you're a business owner of 1, maybe 2 years, most people understand is that you have to put your head down and you have to make sure that your business is a great platform, a great base. If you don't have a great foundation to your company and you implement a lot of stuff way too fast, people will almost think that you don't want to do business or you don't want to succeed or you don't want to, be a good business owner. You're just working for yourself. And that's a big difference is that making sure that you have that foundation of your company before you can implement this, and setting goals to say, look, before my kid is 1 years old, I need to make sure that this is what I have for my company. Because once they start walking, talking, and moving and asking questions, and then they start asking, why aren't you there? Why can't I see you? Why aren't you always leaving? That's whenever it starts becoming really hard as a business owner. If you are an entrepreneur and you have a business that's not fully developed, you need to think about development. You need to think about people that you can invest in to make that development of your company. Because once you have that, being a parent is way easier than being a business owner because you have that personal connection. And for a young entrepreneur,
That's
you have
powerful.
to you have to do this. You have to build the foundation.
That's powerful. I think that's you're like I said, you're dropping gold throughout this entire conversation, and it's some stuff that I'm gonna have to really kind of sit and think about myself. And this has been an incredible conversation. You've given us a lot to think about and to take action on. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you and learn more about you, what you do, and have that all the time support player in the back?
Well, you can of course find me on all the social medias, all the time plumbing. You can find me at allthetimeplumbing.com. You can Google us at all the time plumbing. And my phone number is literally right on the front on the thing. If you call, and I have no problem with talking to young entrepreneurs about balancing their families and their business.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for giving our audience a way to connect with you. And I think this is a lot that I'm going to carry with me. So today's episode reminds us that success isn't about how much we accomplish in business. It's about who we become in the process. at the end of the day, your business can be thriving, but if you're not present for your family, are you really successful? So I challenge you today. Take one intentional step toward being more present, whether that's setting boundaries around work, scheduling quality time with your family, or simply putting your phone down and listening more. Success isn't just about working hard, it's about showing up where it matters most. And as the great Jim Rohn once said, time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. Use it wisely. Those words echo with me. And I'm very, very glad that I was willing to take that bit of beautiful knowledge from Mr. Jim Rohn at a much at an early age, so that I could kind of grow up into this position of an entrepreneur and father, and understand that money comes and goes. You can make money, you can lose money. You cannot make more time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's not worth getting to the end of your time and living in regret. I've never heard anybody say, "Man, I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have had a couple extra meetings. I wish I would have, done XYZ." It's always, "I wish I would have spent more time and invested more time and focus on my family and the people that matter." So thank you for joining us on the bottom line. I'm Ryan Herpin, reminding you that success isn't given, it's earned. And don't forget, it's not so much about balance, it's about finding rhythm so that you can make all things work together. We will see you next time, and I'm excited to dive into more opportunities.